Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I'm still here in Florida. I gotta get back to my regular studio. This is kind of, I've traveled a lot this year, but I was out playing poker last night. I haven't played poker in a while. Went out with my dad here. I'm visiting, and we played some poker at the casino here. And I was thinking about some concepts. I used to play poker a lot, by the way. I think I've done some videos on the topic. But there's a lot of life lessons, I think, in poker for sure, because it's such a game of emotional control and discipline and, calculating, being able to act instead of react to people, right? So anyway, I was thinking about this concept that because I had a play that I made last night, and it didn't turn out well for me. Ended up losing like $300 in one hand, but mathematically, based on my calculations, I still feel like it was the right play, and I would do it again. And that happens a lot, right, in poker. This one I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not gonna give the details just because most people are not familiar with the game of poker, and that's not really as important. What's important, some of you are like, no, John, give me the details. But what's really important is just this concept that in life, a lot of times what's going to happen is you're going to have situations in life where you make the right move, the move that has a positive EV, positive expected value, which means that essentially you're, even though there may be odds involved in it paying off or not, if you continually did that move and continually made that choice, in the end, it would work out to be a positive, right? So, a good poker example is like a flush draw, when you've got 4 cards to the flush and you have you need one more flush card. So essentially, you've got a 1 in 4 chance of that happening, a 25% chance. So what determines whether that's a good play in poker? Well, it depends on how much you have to bet or call and how much money's in the pot. So how much could you win, right? So for example, if there was $100, let's say, in the pot, and you had to, or let's say there's 75 and you had to risk 25, we'll just use rough numbers because it gets a little bit, but let's say there's $100 in the pot and you had to risk $25 in order to do it. Or let's just say you had to bet $100. Let's just make it real simple, okay? If it was 100, then someone bets you $100. Let's say there's $100 in the pot. You got to call it for 100 or not. If you do it for 100, 25% of the time you're going to win. So 1 out of 4 times. Or here we go. Oh, you got to pay $25 to potentially make 100. You pay $25. And if you win $100. The whole pot has $100 in it. Okay, now I've got my math right. So all right. But anyway, so you risk $25 to win 100 with a 1 in 4 chance. That's even odds. The EV on that is 0, right? If you do that play 100 times, you should break even. Okay. Now let's say that there was $200 in the pot, right? Now things change, right? If there's $200 in the pot and you have to risk 25, okay, then one out of 4 times you're going to win $200, okay, and 3 out of 4 times you're going to lose $25. So if you did that 4 times, right, that would mean that you would win $200 one time, odd wise, right, and 3 times you would lose 25. So that's minus 75. So your EV on that would be $125. So you're expecting to make money. That's a good play, okay? So such is life, right? There's a lot of times in life where you're going to make a decision and you're gonna get a bad outcome, even though it's the right decision, even though sometimes it's a long shot. Sometimes it's worth making long shots, just like that flush draw, right? Depending on how much is in the pot. So maybe you have a low probability thing. Maybe you have something that's only a 10% probability of succeeding, but if you do succeed, right, compared to the risk involved, there's gonna be a huge payoff. Well, you should do that, and maybe you should do that 10 times. You see what I'm saying? A lot of venture capitalists that invest in startups, that's exactly what they do, or angel investors, is they invest in a lot of startups, right? And they spread out their money because they know it's a positive EV move, because most of those startups, 9 out of 10 of them are gonna fail and they're gonna lose all their money, but one of them is gonna 100x or 1000x their money. You see what I'm saying? So such is life, right? Many times in your own life, you're gonna have those situations where either it's going to be a very low percentage move, but it might have a high reward, right? or where you make a move, you do something, and you get a bad result. And what you've got to do is you've got to train your brain, you've got to wire your brain to not associate necessarily, you know, a failure with wrong move. That doesn't make it wrong just because you failed, okay? Just because it didn't happen, right? And this is one of those things, it's like, it goes against the natural learning of things, because not everything, you know, we don't, just because something is bad or we get the wrong result doesn't mean that the action was wrong. It's kind of funny, there's this quote, actually, I was gonna do this whole video on this, but this is basically the video, where, you know, there's this quote that says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yeah, but that seems to preclude probability. Actually, you know, probability-wise, if you take probability into account, yeah, you should do the same thing over and over again in many cases if it's positive EV, and you should expect different results. You should expect to eventually win if it's positive EV, expected value, right? Look up the expected value if you want more of a definition on that, but so that's it. So yeah, so that's the concept is you should just think about, you know, when you encounter situations in life, is it really, you know, if you have a failure, is it really that you did the wrong play? Did you do the wrong move? Did you do the wrong thing in life? Or was it just like a low percentage thing that, you know, it would have been, it has positive EV anyway, so you should keep on doing that action or not, right? So that's the thing to think about it. And like I said, most people, what they do is they just have that simplistic view, and instead of like learning, they're actually like, you're not really learning something. Like, you know, again, I could take it back to poker and say, if you're playing poker and you always like use the feedback of whether you won the hand, whether or not you made the right play, you're gonna suck. You're gonna unlearn. You're not gonna learn anything. You're not gonna advance at all. Instead, you have to use it mathematically. You have to use the correct mathematics and the correct logic. The same thing in business as an entrepreneur, you know, but just in life in general, is you gotta look at, you know, feedback is important, but what, you know, right play, right thinking, rational thought is a lot of the Stoics, the Seneca would say, rational thought is your greatest power. So, all right, I hope you guys get that. Let me know if you don't get this concept, because I'll definitely delve into this more if you don't, but I think it's really important. And like I said, poker kind of teaches you this. So, all right, if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button below. Click the bell so you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.